All right. So I was about to film that video I spoke about in this morning's video for the free WAP group, where I was going to go through my exact strategy for the Bitcoin winter bear market for us collapsing and all of that good stuff. I've been trying to figure out a great way to go about this and to really put into words what my plan and strategy is. So I'm going to be going through this today. I'm also going to go through the news. Of course, Bitcoin has been going down a bit. It's just lost 66,000. So we're going to be discussing that. And we're going to discuss this strategy, right? We're going to go through the strategy that I have for buying in this bear market going forward. So if we have another 300, 250-ish days, if everything is normal, right, which it seems so far, then I'll get a time to accumulate Bitcoin. And I think there's a very specific way that I can do this to accumulate as much Bitcoin with as little risk as possible for me. Now, when I say little risk, I don't mean no risk, because of course there is a chance that Bitcoin goes to zero. So going into this, I have to understand that. And on my lap, I have my little Doge. So yeah, she's going to be sitting there on my lap for a little bit. Smash the like button for the little Doge on the lap, and we'll be going through all of this in a second. But guys, as we've seen Bitcoin has just lost 66,000 for the first time in a little bit. It's been a few days since the 6th of February. We had the 5th of February. Wow, is it only then that we went all the way down to 59K? Wow. So it's been, what, 2 weeks since we had this dump all the way down. If you've been watching the channel, right, you know that what I'm looking for here is we came out, we broke the bear flag, we came up, we retested it, and now I'm seeing, are we going to lose this region here about 65K? Are we going to have a wick back down to this region? Are we maybe going to go just under this to get the short positions and get to get the long positions that were opened here, and then get everyone who is even remotely bullish left? Are we gonna get them to go short, then annihilate them with a move to the upside? That's kind of what I would expect from this, especially with news like this. All right, so 25 billion has just been wiped out from the crypto market in 60 minutes. So this is what I think the market is prepping for. We're about to have the US stock market open. I've got a keen eye on Amazon. As you know, I've been buying it around that $200 mark. We briefly went below it, 196. I'm sorry to be talking about stocks on this channel, but I think it's very important. I want to share with you guys exactly my strategy, exactly what I'm doing. And when I see opportunities in the market like this, just like Bitcoin, Amazon's been down 25%. I think that's a really major opportunity for myself. So dollar cost averaging into that, and then of course dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, then trying to find the short-term trades. I did close my long position, about $18,000 of profit. I closed it between 67, around about here, and all the way as high as 70K, averaging out of that position with a lump sum sell, because I just didn't really feel good around this region. I did think that we were going to get another flush to the downside, and that was just due to the macro, especially this, right? So the US is preparing to strike, apparently, Iran. Is this going to happen? Who knows? I would say most likely we're going to get no news about this, and of course, this is pure speculation. We're going to get no news until the markets close on Friday. All right, because that's how Trump does it, right? Because he doesn't want to affect the market. In fact, he wants a very good stock market, but I don't know that he really cares much about the other stuff, or he obviously does, but he doesn't care as much, because what he wants is interest rates to come down. In order to get interest rates to come down, there needs to be not really a stable economy like everyone wants. So it's kind of good news. It's good news is bad news. Bad news is good news in the situation we're in right now. Now, guys, if you're just joining the live stream, do me a favor, hit that like button. We got 173 concurrent viewers. I would absolutely love if you hit that like button. We help this video get out to more people, because as I said, I will show up for you guys in moments like this. Most people who have been streaming, crypto YouTubers, most that have been making videos, they're pulling back, right? They're calming down. There's not much to talk about. It's hard to come here every day. It's a struggle, right? But I'm going to show up every single day for you guys, and I'm going to go live when there's opportunities for things like this for us to talk. So if you have any questions about what's happening right now, drop them in the comment section, and we'll get over to the comments in a second. But I wanted to go through a few things before we do that, my strategy. the market and, of course, the news that's causing this. And a reminder, guys, I'm going to put an in-depth video breaking down my exact bear market strategy in the free WAP. So it's the full link down there. And right now, we also do have Bitcoin dropping. And remember, I set up that short automation. So you can actually follow the short automation I set up by using the links in the description down there as well. So again, guys, if you could help me like this video, get it out to more people, it's the most important metric to get these videos out. And it just helps me, push these videos out. Now, what's happening is I think that the Bitcoin market is preempting the stock market being bad because of this news. But I actually think we're not going to get news until Friday. So with that said, I think right now, we may not fall as bad as what people are expecting right now. 65.9, we've yet to lose 65. It's let to be a vicious push to the downside. So the way I see it is there's really two things that are going on right now. One, like I've told you a million times before, we are simply just in the pullback we had in 2021. It was a 50% pullback, very similar to what we have right now. And then we rocketed up to new all-time highs, but only just, right? We only just pushed up slightly over here, right? This region. We only just broke the all-time highs, but this is exactly the same pullback, right? Remember, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Everyone's telling you this is the end, right? We had a low of 55%. Right now, the low is 52%. So it's completely within the realm of possibility that we just go up, retest all-time highs again, and then come down into a bear market. That could happen, right? Just a little bit later, but we don't know. So it's important for me right now to set up what I think is the right way to go about this bear market. So we know that the bear market lasts for about a year from high to low. We know that it goes down 70 to 80% in a bear market. So with that knowledge, if we continue down from here and we don't bounce, we need to have a plan, right? We need to have a real plan in point. That's what we're going to be discussing in a second, guys. But with this Iran news, we also do have the US Senate to set a debate on major Bitcoin and crypto market bill today. If passed, the proposal could unlock $2 trillion in new liquidity. Now, this is, of course, speculation. Never really pay attention to these numbers, right? Slow and controlled money numbers, dollar into crypto is what we want, right? It's not going to be a massive catalyst instantly, right? But at that same time, right now, poly market, right? The Poly Market Clarity Act becoming law, the probability of the Clarity Act becoming law in 2026 has jumped to 71%. Markets are interpreting that this is strongly bullish signal for crypto, suggesting a growing confidence and clearer regulatory frameworks ahead. Momentum right now is building, right? Momentum is building. Sorry, I'm just checking. Just need to check something. Never mind. So with this, the market is undecided, right? We're in a bear market, so the price is going to go down, and people want to. Oh, we're there. Sorry, people want to catch the perfect bottom. All right, but we have so much bullish things happening. I right now, right, am more confident than I've ever been on Bitcoin, especially because the price is cheaper, right? It's 50% down from the highs, and yet nothing's changed for Bitcoin. People say that, files of Epstein, he's Satoshi, so therefore it's over. All of that, right? I don't think that means it's over. I think we can look at the code and we can figure out what the code says, right? It's open source. Michael Saylor says Bitcoin's quantum threat, which is really the other threat that everyone's talking about, is still 10 to 20 years out. By then, Bitcoin will upgrade like everything else. We'll just upgrade the software. That's what he's saying. So most of the big FUD out there is essentially priced in, right, into the market right now. So there could still be a black swan event. There could still be a big push to the downside when it comes to geopolitical tensions, when it comes to people not wanting their money and assets that are really volatile. But there lies the opportunity, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but that's how I did the last bear market. It's how I did the bear market before. And as I've said many times before, the most amount of money, the most amount of gains has been made positioning myself in a bear market and just waiting and dollar cost averaging. People say that's not the best way to do it. Those people, I say, brilliant. Think about a better strategy for yourself, but this is what works for me. We also have this. Bitcoin's ETF cumulative net inflows, the most important number, peaked at 63 billion in October. Today, it's 53 billion. That's a net inflow of 53 billion in only 2 years. Are more bullish than most of our peers' prediction, 5 to 15 billion in the first year. This is context to consider when looking and writing about the 8 billion inflows since a 45% decline and or the relationship with Bitcoin and Wall Street, which has been overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive, right? The money is still flowing into the ETFs. Maybe not as fast as some people wanted, but you can see 395 days, 395 days, 395 days. The last 3 bear markets, the bear markets that I've been involved in. And right now we are about 30% into this. It's really not that bad, is it? Really not that bad. If we got 260 days left, we've got 260 days to plan a strategy and stick to it. So this is the strategy that I have come up with. All right. So we can see here, for example, $1 million. For example, $10,000. For example, $1,000. For example, you want to accumulate a whole Bitcoin. Whatever it is, you can come up with a strategy and you can use AI, right, to help you out. Right? But this is what we have right here. So let me just zoom in a bit on this so we can see it a little bit clearer. So we can see this is the plan. All right. So in a bear market, let's get this up. For example, for example, the second one. And guys, please put your strategies into the comment section now and we can go over it after this. This is my strategy, my spot market strategy. All right. Please put yours in the comment section and we can break them down and discuss them between ourselves, right? So we have about a 77% drawdown, right? For this one, we have an 86% drawdown. So far, we have been shown that really history is repeating itself. 4-year cycle, up, down. So let's just stick to that thought process. Maybe it's different. Maybe we stick to the all-time highs like we did here. We only spent 62 days below the old all-time highs. Maybe that's the weight goes down. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter. As long as you do have this strategy in place. What will happen if it bounces? What will happen if it doesn't bounce? What will happen if it goes down? My strategy is there. So I put enough money in early enough that if we get the bounce and we're actually only in this 50% drawdown, I get the upside. If we go down more, doesn't matter because this is money that I'm willing to put in the market. Like I said, it can be $100, it can be $1,000, it can be 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million, whatever you like. It doesn't matter, right? People always ask me, like right now, is it now a good time to buy Bitcoin? Like, is it even worth buying crypto if I only have $100? Well, I would, because I did, right? But maybe it's good for you, maybe it's not good for you. But any amount, in my opinion, just to have exposure, even if you had $10, $50 in the market, you're going to pay much more attention to the market, right? If you're slightly invested. So anyway, with that said, I don't want to bore you too long. If the price hits $60,000 again, I chuck in 10% of my allocation. We've already hit 60,000 and I've put in my allocation at 60,000, right? But if we hit it again, this is for example, right? Because we've bounced from there. So I already got in my percentage that I wanted to. 10% of the allocation I'm willing to put in during the entire bear market. This is how much money I'm willing to risk, right? I believe that Bitcoin will go to $1 million in approximately 10 years. Maybe it's 15 years, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's never. But the amount of money I'm willing to put on the line right now is an amount that's a percentage of my net worth, right? That I am willing to lose. I don't need it for utilities. I don't need it for bills. I don't need it in the next 10 years. If I need it if I need it in the next 10 years, I wouldn't be putting it in the market. That's what you need to understand. All right. How do we have unlimited money? We have an income. We have a job. We have a business. We take a percentage of that and we use it for dollar cost averaging purposes. But anyway, the number I have in my head, or the number you have in your head, this is the strategy that I'm applying. 10% at 60K. This is going to grow 12% at 52K, 15% at 45K, 18% at 38K, 20% at 32K, and then going back down again, 16% at 26, 9% at 22. Do I think it's going to hit really any of these numbers? 32, 26, 22. I actually don't. I don't think that's going to happen. But I know better than to tell you guys that I know what's going to happen. Always in the comment section, I see people going, this is exactly what's going to happen for Bitcoin. And exactly October the 16th, we're going to bottom. Exactly this, exactly percentage, yada. I don't know. Nobody knows, and it's all nonsense if anyone says they know. They don't know. But why and how have I come up with these numbers? Well, 60%, sorry, $60,000 is approximately where we dipped to, right? It's the low that I bought. That's the last low that I bought here. Now, that is a 52% drawdown. 50% drawdown for Bitcoin historically has given absolutely amazing opportunities to buy. And below that, every percent below that has been an amazing opportunity, amazing opportunity, amazing opportunity, amazing opportunity, right? This 50% drawdown right to here, right? That region right there was an absolutely amazing opportunity to buy Bitcoin, right? Yes, it went lower like a year later or something, sure. But did you take profits here or did you accumulate lower? I accumulated lower, right? So that would be the plan once again here. I don't care if it goes lower. I don't care if it bounces from here. I might take profits. That's why I have the leverage plays that I do. So that's short-term trading. Anyway, I digress. Anything below a 50% move to the downside, I think is a great buy. However, I think we can go lower. So I can't go all in right now. So I need to have a strategy, right? All the way down to approximately 32 to 38K, that puts us in the realm of what's happened previously, right? So if we take this and we drop it to 77%, right there, 28K, right? But in the bear markets that I've been in, we had 80%. I think it was like 87%. Then we had 77%. Right? So maybe this time we have 67%, right? Bearing in mind that the most institutional clients, institutional whales, people love Bitcoin way more than ever before, which is why I am way more bullish now. I like it. It seems counterintuitive to, you know, be more bullish now because one, the price is down, and two, the price is up, right? But significantly higher than it was, let's say, 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, right? So it's like, oh, well, I've missed the boat. Well, no, right? Because we might have an opportunity now. However, we have ETFs, which we just discussed, have had, they've blown expectations out of the water. And even now on a 50% pullback, they still hold loads of money. Right? So this is a long-term bullish signal in my eyes, and it's never really been more bullish for Bitcoin. I could be wrong. Yada, yada, yada. Don't blindly follow me. But a 67% drawdown puts us at 41,000. So between what could happen if we have these law of diminishing returns and the worst bear market I've been in is between 40 and that $28,000 region. So if we chuck it here, you can see. That's why I have these. Could it be worse? Absolutely. So we have these buys, right? Could it be not as bad? Absolutely. So we have this buy, we have this buy, we have this buy. And that is the plan, right? So we start 10%, 12%, 15%, 18%, 20%, 16%, 9%. I think this is much less likely to happen than this and this and this, right? I think these are more likely to happen. And that is how I'm going to accumulate the amount of Bitcoin that I want, or the amount of money, for example, $1 million, for example, $100,000, for example, $10,000. That's how I'm planning to accumulate. Rather than, for example, $1,000 at 60, $1,000 at 55, $1,000 at 50, and so on, right? I'm going to use this ladder that gets increasingly larger to the most likely positions of where the pullback could go. Heavier and heavier, the further down we go. And then I'm going to try and deploy more capital. So I'm not going to have as much capital as I would love. Of course, I would love to hold it all and buy it at 22,000 if that happens, but I think that's less likely to happen. So therefore, I'm going to have less capital by then because I will have deployed it. And that's the strategy, right? That's the bear market strategy that I'm going to be going through. Now, I'll go through that into more detail over in the free WAP. I'll break it down, my thoughts, why I'm there, all of that sort of stuff. But that's the strategy. I'd love to hear from some of you guys the strategy. And I just had my ping. So 7 minutes ago, the stock market opened. So let's see what's happening. Well, Amazon not doing too badly. The S&P 500 down 0.5%. The volatility index is up a little bit today. You know, when the volatility index spikes like this is the tariff crash. It's opportunity in the market, right? It's not the same as the fear and greed index, but it's a very similar idea, right? When it spikes irrationally high, I deploy capital into the stock market. I got S&P 500 at 20% discount doing that. It's worked really well for my dollar cost average. Gold and silver, basically flatline today. And then Bitcoin down 1%, 65,000. Honestly, this seems like it's holding up pretty strong. You know, I don't want to open along too early, but it could be an idea for me to open somewhere between where we are and then just a nice tight stop loss in case, you know, maybe I put in 10K on a few X and then, you know, $1,000 loss, for example, if we do touch it. Worth the risk if we bounce, but I'm not going to do that right now. But that's what the thought process is right now. I'm waiting to see, are we going to come down and grab the liquidity that sits here? You know, are we going to do that? Are we going to come down and grab the liquidity that sits here and here? That's something that I'm very interested in. I do think there will be a bounce. So I think this is going to be overblown. You see here, 66,000. We're bouncing a little bit now because the stock market didn't open as red as what I think people were expecting, which is why we had this pullback, this preemptive pullback before the market opened. So with that said, guys, I want to hear from you. What's your bear market strategy? Do you think we are in a bear market technically, but do you think we're in a crypto winter? Do you think we're going to go significantly lower from here, or do you think we're going to bounce? Let me know down there in the comment section. And yeah, I want to chat to you guys about it. If you can, we just broke 100 likes. I got my food coming in a bit. I'm watching it there on the order. If you guys could help me like the live. What were you thinking? I'm going to put a little comment in there so we can have a little chat. We got 350 viewers right now. And yeah, an interesting time in the market. If there's anything you want me to look at right now, do let me know. And I'll start answering some questions. GM Stoned Photography. Felix H, if we hit 22K, I'm out. Will have round trip my spot bags. It's possible, man. It could happen. And if it does, that's where I'll be dollar cost averaging. Helen, thanks for trudging through this winter. Appreciate your well-rounded view. Tomorrow could be Scoutus ruling on tariffs, or next week. Exactly, yeah. It could be. And that could also be bad, and it could also push the market down. But then if you have this strategy, right, and you have this plan, $1,000, let's say, this actually makes these things kind of exciting, right? Because it's kind of exciting to think, okay, well, I could get Bitcoin that I've wanted for so long at such cheap valuations. Like, I would be disappointed if we bounced from here. Honestly, I don't have any longs open right now. I've got the automated short open, and a few others. I do have a few longs in that automation, but my longs I've closed out in profit. My spot bags, I'm happy, honestly. Even the altcoins, I want them to go lower so I can finally accumulate them again. And actually, on what you said, Felix, because I'm still in profit on the Solana, in profit on XRP, I kind of want them to come down to my entries. The entries are significantly lower, but I accumulated an amount of altcoin, you know, whatever, the amount of XRP and amount of Solana that I was comfortable with losing the money, for example, but also comfortable holding. Like, I was happy with that holdings. And as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, I didn't take much profit, 25% or so, but nowhere near what I planned to do, because I was blindsided by this, and that might have been naive, but you know, I can put my hands up and say I didn't handle selling my spot bag as well as I would have liked to. However, I still have the amount of these altcoins that I wanted to have, and I'm still up significantly. So right now I'm not planning to sell. If that changes, I'll let you guys know. But I would be happy for them to come down to around those average entries. You know, XRP is 50 cents. So if it comes back down to that region, that's when I can start accumulating again. I don't think XRP is going anywhere. I don't think Solana's going anywhere. I don't think Dogecoin is going anywhere. Maybe even more down the risk curve, Sui, you know, these other large cap altcoins. I don't hold any Sui in the spot bag, but ETH, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Doge, and a few bits and bobs here and there. That's what I'm holding right now. And that's why I feel comfortable. ETH chart. Let me know what you want to check that out, what you want me to go through. XRP down to $1. XRP could go down to 50 cents. I don't see why not. BMNR is definitely cheap right now. Uncle Crispy. I hold a lot of BMNR and I'm underwater. I think a little bit over 50% on that. But again, the money that I put into that was money that I was like, hey, this is money I'm taking a risk on. I'm taking a bet on BMNR. I'm taking a bet on Tom Lee. And I'm happy to ride this. If it goes down 90%, it's annoying, but I'll just have to ride the wave if it comes back up. If it doesn't, that's just something I accept. Do I use prop trading? No, I just leverage my own money. But again, prop trading is cool if you have a strategy, if you think you can outperform that sort of stuff. Some people are saying 45K bottom, but bounce at 62 before 70 to 80K, maybe to close the CMR gap, but then downside further. See, the thing is like these price points, it's like, yeah, it's all kind of arbitrary, right? Because I could say to you right now, well, you know, look, we came down to retest kind of perfectly previous support. Then we bounced. Then we lost that previous support. We came down. What did we retest? Oh, support before that. So I could tell you right now, it's likely that we come down to retest 48K. We then bounce. We then lose it. We then go down to test 38K. We then bounce. So like all of these things can happen. But in this market environment, like we're just, I think it's more important to pay attention to the macro and how that's affecting what might happen in the short term if you're trading, right? So that's what I'm doing here. You see the S&P 500 is going up now. We've gone up 0.25% since we started this stream, and Bitcoin is starting to rise. Because again, I think that, like I said before it opened, that I think it was the market preempting a bad stock market, but I don't think Trump is going to announce anything until the stock market is closed, which is why I'm kind of hesitant to open any sort of long position unless I had a very tight stop loss. Because I think he probably will say something on Friday, which will spook the market, but he's saving it. That's a speculation, right? Yeah, nice one, Templar. Respecting the 4-year cycle has never failed you. Yeah, awesome. I mean, it's bit like it really is just that simple, right? Stone Photography been buying $10 of Bitcoin. I love that every single day. I did a test on here. What the difference was, S&P 500, Bitcoin, all of that, buying every day, buying once a week, buying once a month, buying once a year. And honestly, the percentages are quite funny, right? Because like buying in mass panic, like dollar cost averaging only on mass panic only outperforms, if you can do it perfectly, it only outperforms dollar cost averaging daily, weekly, and monthly by like 1%. And they go up like that. I think the best is buying daily because you get the entire market moves. But yeah, it's all marginal. Dollar cost averaging outperforms the market almost in its entirety. And it's kind of crazy, guys. I definitely, I highly suggest taking these thoughts, right, and putting them into ChatGPT and like, what's the word? Like mulling over it with ChatGPT, because I've done it in depth, right? I go through these thought processes when I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get into the S&P 500, right? I started in the tariff crash. I was waiting with cash. I deployed heavily into the tariff crash. And then I was like, should I wait until the next crash or should I dollar cost average? So I started to research, right? And I started to plan, and literally buying on a Monday or whatever day, weekly, is like the best risk to reward and the least amount of thought, because buying daily is a pain in the ass unless it does it automatically, right? So yeah, that's the thing. So weekly buys every for anything that I believe in for the long term. Why wouldn't I do that with Bitcoin? Well, the thing is I actually want to deploy more than what I would weekly DCA. I weekly DCA with what I make, right? So on average, what I make a month take that average, take the excess income after my bills, utilities, yada, 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 take that, divide it by 4, put that into the market. I want to put significantly more than that into Bitcoin, which is why I'm not doing it weekly. The 4-year cycles have been consistent. Why dismiss them? I don't know if you're referring to me, Templar, but I'm not dismissing them. I think it's very much intact right now, which means the bear market will last 1 year. Will I try and get a low leverage long at the lows, or will I wait for confirmation that it's going back up? I actually will try and get longs. So it's a little bit of an unorthodox approach, but taking an amount of money you're willing to lose, going long with it in a market environment that's extremely panicked. This is exactly what I did in this move right here, right? It was a big trade. It was a big size trade and went down, and I just put the amount of money that I was willing to put in, and it was 10x, so I had a 10% margin, right, of error, and I think it went down like 8%, so it was almost liquidated. And then it bounced, and then I felt uncomfortable, so I, closed out close to $20,000 of profit, which is very great. But essentially, on the way down, one of the ways, if you've been watching the channel for a few years, you see there's some of the swing trades that I open. Like, for example, the Dogecoin trade, I was closing, probably opening it swing trade for maybe a few days, maybe a week, right? But I also like to hold long-term Bitcoin trades or Ethereum trades when we're in a bull market, Solana, that sort of thing. But right now, buying Bitcoin, right, with leverage is extremely dangerous because I can lose the money relatively easily. But the upside is huge. So taking a bit of leverage, trying to go long, trying to catch that bottom, it's going to be more profitable if I manage to catch the bottom, if I do it before confirmed breakout, right? But it's high risk. Now, if you use, for example, 10x and you get liquidated 3-4 times, but then Bitcoin does reverse and it goes into a bull market, that liquidation you get back, right? So tenfold. You can make a lot of money, but it's a very high risk approach. But that's why I like to do multiple strategies, basically 3 strategies. One, it's all swing trading, by the way, but one is really long-term swing trading, spot market, right? Bitcoin. I'm a swing trader because I am going to sell Bitcoin, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm escaping the fiat system. I'm not trying to escape the fiat system. I'm trying to make more fiat money so I can buy more real estate, buy more stocks, buy more Bitcoin, and just grow the net worth like that, right? I'm not trying to be all Bitcoin. I'm not all Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I just think Bitcoin's the best risk to reward with large capital. I digress. I forgot what I was going to say after that. Someone remind me in the comment section. Craig Ardros, what was my most high risk investment ever that created the most returns? Also, which project destroyed you the most? My most high risk investment was we used to call them, or I used to call them, hype coins back in the day. But see, high risk is hard to say because I've done much riskier things, but I haven't had as good returns. But SafeMoon, right? I put $500 here on this channel. I think it was the second or the third day, and that turned into $150,000, and I managed to sell it on the channel, just from exactly DCAing out when it broke like $100,000. I was like DCAing out of it, and my plan was always to buy a apartment with that money, so that's what I did. And that was great. That was really high risk. However, I would say it's less high risk than some of the moves that I've done recently, because $500 to me at the time, I can't remember exactly how much I had, but maybe a lot more than that in savings, where I could have done $1,000 or $10,000, which would have been a lot more higher risk. But the actual investment was, of course, extremely high risk. And then a few $1,000s into Cardano in the bear market, 2018, 2019. That was pretty high risk, really high reward. And then I've never really been destroyed by an altcoin or an investment, only because I'm really quite conservative with the amount in comparison to my net worth that I put into things, right? So which ones destroyed me the most? Polkadot. I bought Polkadot in the last bull market near the top, and I still have it. And that got annihilated, and it's still annihilated right now. So that would be one. Mm. hidden ball, not dismissing them, but as part of a complex set of indicators that help determine potential direction. I love that. That's exactly how I use it. DCAing since you were 18, since 2021. Awesome, man. I wish I was doing that when I was your age. We go into zero? Yeah. uh, Milkshake Matty, a ginger guy, UK ginger crypto. Let's go. Are we there yet? Oh, I mean, low. Are we going lower? Yeah. I mean, probably rewind the video because you're not gonna like how low I was suggesting we might go. So yeah, we've bounced. We're at 66,400. And yeah, the stock market is going not up. It's still down on the day, but yeah, I think that was preemptive. They were expecting a bad reaction from the stock market. We've not had it yet. I'd be very careful right now. I would love to go long here, but something tells me that we're going to get an announcement on Friday night and the market's going to give me a better opportunity over the weekend. But that could be wrong, but we'll have to see. Felix, you bought Coinbase stock at 150. First of all, I love that. I love buying crypto stocks. Let's have a look. I don't hold any Coinbase. Coinbase was one of the like indicators of is that price? Oh yeah, it is. Of how much of a bull market we're in. All right, so is this peak? Oh, July 25. Wow. Where's 24? Oh wow. So we actually hit the peak similar to Bitcoin. And it's down now. How much more than Bitcoin? Yeah. Wow. 70%. Honestly, if you like the company, which of course I do, I think right now is a great opportunity only if you're willing to do this, right? I would consider this a good opportunity if you understand that they IPO'd and they went to basically the high that it hit, right? It took 1,500 days. So however many years that is, 5 years or whatever, 6 years. And it went down from the high to the low 92%. And from where we are right now to that low is 81% still. So from this, if I was to buy it today, which it might actually be quite a decent entry, I would only buy it if I would continue to dollar cost average down all the way another 81% drop, because that is very possible for these sorts of things. So yeah, I actually think that's it's a great, much better opportunity to be buying down here than up here. And the majority of people are buying, this region. So you outperform the majority of people. So again, figuring out a strategy as to where you would DCA. Is it a time-based DCA strategy? Is it a strategy based on price? Something like this, right? That's the Bitcoin DCA. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. And Coinbase ain't going anywhere unless crypto goes to zero, which I don't think it is. All right, guys, my food is about to arrive. Hopefully, I've provided some value. If you want me to stay on, I'm just going to grab some water. If you want me to stay on, we got 136 likes with 350 people watching. So if we can get to 200 likes in like the next minute or two, smash the like. I'll stay on and answer more questions. But if not, I'm going to go and eat my dinner. All right, I'm back. We didn't quite reach the likes, I'm afraid, but I will answer the questions that people asked just before I left. What do I think about Solana-based meme coins, SPX or Bonk, for example, or do I think holding the base coin is best? Honestly, I just don't care about meme coins right now. I don't care about small cap altcoins. Like the risk to reward is so skewed in losing money that even though there's definitely multiple 100x's, 1000x's, 10,000x's sitting there, I just don't think it's worth my time, the effort, and the stress of holding them right now. There's no liquidity in this market. Yes, there are random coins that pump. I'm most likely not going to be part of that, right? So my thought process is I just wait until the liquidity hits the market, we get excitement, we get all of that come back in, and then I can start playing with it again. I still hold some meme coins from the last bull that I didn't fully sell out, but I sold out of most of them. And I still hold Dogecoin, and I am looking actively for opportunities. It's just, if I put $100, for example, into 10 projects, one of them does a 10x, and then 9 of them do nothing or go down, I've basically broken even. I have broken even, right? So it's just like the chances of finding something in this market, in my opinion, is just so unlikely. So right now, I'm just focused on making as much money as I can and putting that into these long-term assets. The lower we go, the more risk on I'll get with the larger cap altcoins, but not the smaller cap. I am very much a fan of the Greg sausage roll. Absolutely. All right, guys, that's me. I'm going to jump off. Hopefully, I've provided some value. If I did, do me a favor, guys. If you're new, subscribe, tune in. Every day we talk about the markets. And if you do want to, Pionex right now, 6 years, they've been offering these trading automations. And I do have a trading automation that is short on Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin's going down, that's going to be making money because I've set it up. So every time it breaks a certain price, it will go short. And then as we go down, it'll take profits from those shorts. So as we're in this little range, why not give it a go? So that's what I'm looking at. You can get $10,000 of USDT rewards using that link as well. You can see that right there behind my head. And if you do want to see more of a breakdown into my bear market strategy, also all of my strategies, my trading strategies, all for free, there's a link to the what below this video. I'd love to see you over there. And